Holly Hunter and Rock and Roll with Garbage, and a whole lot more. But first, your local news.
Next, the world's oldest astronaut checks in from space. John Glenn has already been in orbit twice as long as his first time.
A college president here in Connecticut talks about his longtime relationship with Glenn, and the mother of Krista McAuliffe watches her first launch since the Challenger disaster.
And we're going undercover tonight to show you whether stores do what they say they do with your credit cards. Good evening, I'm Terzi.
And I'm Denise DeCenzo. Also tonight, millions of women who are at high risk for breast cancer have a new option despite possibly dangerous side effects.
We have complete details. The Night Beat begins now.
Now, Eyewitness News Night Beat.
Tonight, some amazing video from inside the shuttle as the astronauts hurtle away from the launch pad. It's a bumpy ride back to the history books, and Senator John Glenn in the middle there proves he still has the right
After
stuff.
ignition and liftoff of Discovery with a crew of 6 astronaut heroes and 1 American legend.
It has been just over 8.5 hours since blastoff. The 7-member crew has been blazing away, orbiting the Earth. And John Glenn says it's beautiful up there, and he's really enjoying the show. Good evening. By all accounts, this has been a day for the history books.
The first American to orbit the Earth 36 years ago is now the oldest person to ever travel in space. The Night Beat has extensive team coverage tonight, including Connecticut connections to the mission.
But let's begin now with Night Beat reporter Dennis House and a look at the day's events. Dennis?
It was a spectacular day, wasn't it? Well, shuttle launches have become so routine, few people watch them, but when a man some have compared to the Columbus of our time heads back into space at an age when many men are worried about tea times, it is anything but routine. At this moment, 77-year-old John Glenn is high above Earth. Earlier tonight, a NASA engineer asked him if he was enjoying the ride.
Boy, enjoying the show is right. This is beautiful. The best part is do a trite old statement, 0G, and I feel fine. I'm going to let the record show that that John has a smile on his face, and it goes from one ear to the other one, and we haven't been able to remove it yet.
That smile that charmed America back in 1962 was beaming first thing this morning at the traditional NASA breakfast of steak and eggs. Then, wearing the familiar orange spacesuit, the Ohio senator and his Discovery crew headed out to make history again. Every inch of beach and land near Cape Canaveral was filled with spectators, including the President and First Lady. At midday, the crew was strapped into the cockpit with the help of NASA engineers. And then everybody waited through a 19-minute delay caused by a minor technical problem and by 5 planes that strayed into NASA airspace. Later, NASA officials admitted they were concerned.
Made us a little tense and made the rookie launch director sweat a little bit, but we got off successfully.
It was a success. At 2:19, Discovery, carrying the first man to ever orbit the Earth, and now the oldest ever to venture into space, blasted off.
Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery with a crew of 6 astronaut heroes and 1 American legend.
The launch was picture perfect. There was a big cheer as the solid rocket boosters fell off as planned, but a small door also broke free from the shuttle before liftoff and hit an engine, although experts say it does not pose any threat to safety. The event was watched by millions of Americans. In Glenn's hometown of New Concord, Ohio, big screen TVs were brought into Muskingum College, the astronauts' alma mater. Now, this is a 9-day mission with 12-hour work days during which the aging process will be studied using Senator Glenn. Behind me, you see a live picture of, no, actually, looking at now a file picture. That is television. Well, Denise and Al, some observers and writers say this is good for the country's morale at a time when the leader of our country is embroiled in a sex scandal and heading into impeachment hearings. It's nice to have a hero like John Glenn to give Americans something positive to talk about.
Nice to have some good news, isn't it?
Sure is, isn't it?
All right, thanks, Dennis.
Indeed, across the country and around the world, people paused this afternoon to witness John Glenn's historic return flight into space. A crowd gathered in New York's Times Square, among other places, this afternoon to watch the launch, and just as did their counterparts everywhere else, there was a rousing cheer as the shuttle blasted into space.